Good morning and welcome. Here we are on the 29th day of our Lockdown 3 mini-series, and it's the first day where the number of the lesson, the number of the study doesn't match the date because we're now on the 1st of March 2021. So let's look at study number 29 in the set of 60. It describes itself as a study for the staccato, which is true, but more interestingly really is the fact that they're all going to be on up bows, and we'll push that bow along with the right hand little finger being the energy source there. So it's really important that all your fingers have really got good contact with the bow, and the driving force is that little finger, so be careful that you don't end up having a sort of a relaxed little finger, either gently sitting on the stick or around but not being active, because you'll end up with the hand coming too far this way, and that is not where the energy is coming from. It must be this little finger wrapped around the front there. Now this particular study I did cover in week 3 of the first series in 2020, so that was April last year, 2020. So if you want to see much more in-depth breakdown of this particular study, phrase by phrase, you can watch those videos. But we'll cover a few of the important things. The first is the one we've already discussed, which is about the strength of the little finger, pushing those up bows, and that is the bow exercise really throughout. But the study isn't just about the bow. There's a few interesting left hand elements in it as well. Initially, not particularly, it's just a pretty melody based on just F major scales. But when we get to bar 10, we're looking at inward telescopic left hand movements. So the first one is the most extreme, where I've got a displaced semitone between the two pitches, and I've got a first finger on the lower one, and instead of a 2 here, I'm going to bring in my fourth finger. There's the inward telescope movement, and then I'll open my hand up. So just watching that again, we have, and the next version in a moment here isn't as extreme. Instead, my little finger's going to come in a semitone's worth. And this time another, a semitone's worth again, etc. So a little bit of inward telescope movement happening on that second phrase. And then the fourth phrase is a very lovely one. This is starting from bar 20. Leading into bar 20 there's a little bit of chromaticism which you need to watch out for, but 20 itself and onwards is based on a diminished seventh, and the whole of this very lovely cascading falling phrase is based on that structure. So you can hear, hopefully you can hear, which is the crab crawl effect of the left hand, telescoping out and closing the hand. So rather a pretty phrase that, and nice to be aware of that harmonic structure underneath. I momentarily mentioned that leading into that phrase you maybe just need a little tiny bit of extra concentration. So from bar 18 we've arrived at a B flat, we go up the D string, and then these last 3 notes I've just played, which is B flat, C and D flat, I move to half position, and orally they sound the same, but I put a 1 on the D flat, which is now being called a C sharp, and hence I arrive at the E, ready for that cascading diminished 7th structure. So a little bit of thinking in that one. I mean, you can just follow the finger pattern, but it may momentarily confuse you, and you can see that actually by being aware that the orally it should sound the same might help you. And rather pleasingly, this particular study ends up with a little surprise perfect cadence of pizzicato. It's rather delightful. So here we are from the top. Thinking as I was going through that, maybe that's a bit fast for an allegretto, and potentially the staccato could be shorter if you wanted. And even if we took that slightly more crisp articulation a little quicker, maybe. Which I think actually might be a bit more jolly, so I kept the speed maybe a bit quicker than my first time round, but a little bit more concentration on da 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 with this little finger in particular on my right hand driving that articulation. Have a go, and I think that either of those executions work, either the crisp version or the more flowing one with a slight detachment, but it's, it's a slightly longer sounding note. And use that ear of yours to really listen to the length of the note, and it's fine if it's slightly longer or shorter, but decide which it's going to be and try and be consistent.